Every leader has bad days. Most pretend they don't. This is the show where leaders stop pretending and start learning. Welcome to the Bad Days Leadership Podcast, where leaders pull back the curtain on decisions they cringe about, runes they misread, and the failures that shaped everything after. Real leaders, real mistakes, real lessons. Because you can't become a great leader without a few bad days. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bad Days Leadership, the show where we learn lessons from those days that we sometimes regret, sometimes we cringe about, sometimes we wish had never happened, but those are the lessons that teach us the most. And I'm excited that you are here with us today because we've got an outstanding show ahead. I am eager to introduce you. Really no introduction needed for those who pay attention to things going on in Nashville, but my friend Stuart Deming, co-founder of XPLR.NASH, is here with us today to talk about all things leadership and maybe share a few examples of some of those bad days. If you've been hiding under maybe a rock for a while and you don't quite know what XPLR.NASH is, this team, Stuart and his team, have done such a tremendous job of highlighting through actionable storytelling so many of the good things going on in Nashville and in Tennessee and beyond. And they are moving in many, many ways right now to build this company, this media company. And I'm just super excited that Stuart is here with us. Stuart, thanks for being with us. Welcome to Bad Days Leadership.
Matt, thanks for having me. It's funny. I was actually talking to my mom right before this, and I said, "Oh yeah, I've known Matt for like 8 years now," and I'm like, "Time just flies."
It does fly.
It's I was reading Psalms the other day, and it was just a good reminder that life is fleeting.
Yeah,
you're here for a moment, and you're a vapor, and you're gone.
Yeah, it is, and you're so accurate in that, and I'm feeling it at home. I feel it at work. I know everybody does, but man, I'm looking forward to being able to slow down for a few minutes and just talk.
Yeah, I love great conversations.
I always enjoy our conversations, and I am really grateful for you and your work for a lot of reasons. We were talking about it before we push record, but you have sent my family on some wonderful food road trips, some road trips to places in Tennessee that we had not visited. Anytime we go anywhere, we look to see if you guys have highlighted something in that area. And we'll talk some more about what you guys are doing here at the end, but just really appreciate what you're doing and the way you're bringing about and growing community and people around so many of these fun things like that I like to do too, like find good food and find good places to go and find kind of hole in the wall things to go see and do. And so you guys are doing some awesome work. Just really grateful for what you're doing. Grateful for you to be here. And I'm ready to jump in. You?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, my friend. Well, you have had a life as a professional before XPLR.NASH. And even in the last few years that you guys have been getting this company up and running and moving in so many different ways, you have seen some things. You've lived some life as a leader. And I just wonder if there are maybe give a little context to your career and some of the leadership, maybe opportunities you've had, some of just the different things that people may not know about you, Stuart.
Yeah, as of this recording, I'm 36.
Yeah.
I have worked 60 different jobs.
60?
Since the age of 6. And some of those jobs have included DJing for Mary Kay makeup events, or detailing cars, or running a landscaping company at the age of 15 and having 4 other guys work for me, and I would just pay them maybe $40 a day and free food for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And my background, I became a Christian at the age of 16, and I felt the Lord was calling me into ministry, but I didn't know that ministry could have been making businesses and creating wealth through business. And so I thought I was going to go into ministry, but before the age of 16, I was dead set on becoming a SWAT team member, going to go do drug busts and bust people in the skull type situation. Yeah. And got involved in ministry, got saved at the age of 16, and immediately got plugged into the church that I was at. They built an entire discipleship program. And so I got involved in that leadership side of things, building out an entire discipleship curriculum at a church in Pennsylvania. And that church now has had 600 people go through that discipleship curriculum. And now it's a worldwide curriculum. And so like churches in Africa are using it as their discipleship core.
That's awesome.
And so that was a really cool aspect of learning leadership, because I was with my youth pastor and like different youth leaders, and we built discipleship 1, 2, and 3 and built this whole curriculum. That was before I even went to college for ministry.
Wow.
And so that was always an avenue of leadership where I really learned like systemize things. And then I've always loved making content. I've been making content for almost 30 years.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool. Yeah, before everyone was like, oh, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
I've always had a vision, an idea that I wanted that camera in my hand. I wanted to capture the moments. And somehow I convinced my teachers in high school to allow me to make movies instead of write papers.
Oh, wow.
And so for a majority of my high school career, I made movies instead of writing papers. Wow. And so I had to lead teams there, and there were 6 other students, and they're like, hey, if your movie fails, you still have to write the paper. And so somehow I convinced them, and we made movies. And so like I had to lead a team through making movies in high school and like coming up with an end goal and then casting vision for them to create this piece. And guess what? We had hundreds on every single one of our projects.
Yeah.
And so like, because the teachers are like, oh, you guys put in 95 more hours than you did for writing a paper. And then in college, same thing. Like I just have this niche of like casting vision, and the Lord has allowed me to do that. And somehow people tag along. I'm still learning that experience. But in college, I did the same thing, and I graduated in 2.5 years with a 4-year degree, just because I hated school. I hated the process of that organized schooling, because I know from a leadership standpoint, I'm like, okay, I understand these things. I see this. Let me go execute.
Yeah.
And I still made movies in college. And I wrote a couple more papers in college than I did in high school. But gathering people and gathering a team and gathering, and then after college, getting deeply involved in ministry, moving to Franklin, Tennessee to be involved in ministry, becoming a church planner. Like I was a home church planner here in Nashville. And so it's for somehow the Lord has put me in a position to gather people and then lead them. And that's been my life.
That's so
my
good.
Entire life. And so before I was a Christian, like I was the house that people came to hang out. And I grew up in a trailer park. And so we would have 15 boys inside of a trailer playing video games. And somehow I was able to lead this group. I don't know, just very fascinating times.
What a great, what a great testimony.
Thank you.
To your faithfulness to the call, to playing your role to the fullest. How you were created. We talk about great days around here. I know this is the Bad Days podcast, but this is, our company's Great Days Leadership. We talk about understanding that there's 2 great days. The day you're born with all your talents, gifts, strengths, and abilities, and then understanding day 2, how to put those into practice and towards a sense of calling, vocation, purpose. And you, my friend, have done that really, really well. You have been a storyteller, an entrepreneur, a minister, a leader, a founder of a company, multiple companies, 60 jobs since age 6. That's incredible. We need to share that with some people that you can work when you're young, maybe. I don't know, but let's jump into some things really specific to some of the lessons you've learned along the way. Yep. So let's talk, maybe even, this is a question we ask a lot of times on this show. What are some, or maybe one in particular, memories you have that when you think about the way maybe you handled yourself as a leader, or maybe you observed a leader, that you just still kind of cringe about?
There's a few examples. So at my college, it was Baptist Bible College in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, then turned into Summit University. They closed recently. I was part of the work government program where it paid for student loan, whatever that's. I can't remember what it's called. Work study. And so I was a sous chef cooking for 500 people every 5 nights a week. and I would like make pasta dishes and eggs, and we would be like line cooking meals in 30 seconds.
Wow.
Or 50 seconds. Like we had it flip fast. The manager was just a jackwagon. He treated people really terribly, but the assistant manager treated people really well. And she was really engaging. She like just treated people really well, but no one would talk to the actual manager because like they would get chewed out if we made a mistake. Like there was one time I was washing dishes and somebody bumped into me, and then all of a sudden the rack fell over and $500 of dishes were just broken.
Wow.
People get in the way. And like he just reamed me a new one, and it was embarrassing for him, but it was embarrassing for me because I'm like, oh, I made this mistake. Should I have yelled, hey, I'm coming out? But should have the person also walking said, hey, I'm passing by? So it's like I've learned from that. And then another situation I was in, I think this is just going to be a fun story for your audience.
Yeah, please.
I've had my beard for 13 years. It's been on my face for a long time. But when I moved here, and I was working for a church here in the area in Franklin, we ate Mexican, and I had a line of queso down my beard for 5 hours, and no one told me about it. I had meetings with the executive pastor and all this stuff, and it was just this white strip of queso in my beard. Now I have gray hair, so it looks more appropriate. But the thing I learned about that from leadership is you have to have the uncomfortable conversations. And like I went into the bathroom, and it was like a full 6 hours afterwards, and I realized there was this queso in my beard, and I realized then I have this different perception of the South because I'm from the North. Sure. In the North, you're really aggressive, and you tell how it is, and that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
But like down here, it's bless your heart, this facade, but then I realized out of that situation, me as a leader, I have to be willing to have the uncomfortable conversations. Hey, you have this going on with you, and it, like just from a queso, I have to be willing as a leader to my team to have the uncomfortable conversations. So that's hopefully that answers your question.
That's so good. So perspective on situations teaches the lessons, allows you to learn the lessons that are being taught in those moments. And so when you think about those kinds of moments that you experienced, how has that informed how you want to lead your teams? I mean, you have a team of people helping produce all the content and all the programs and all the activities you and your team are involved with. And so you're leading a team. I don't know how many are on your team, but I know it's plenty. Right now, it feels like a lot.
Yeah.
But how did those lessons help shape and inform how you lead your teams today?
I think part of it is the attitude of Jesus. A leader needs to serve.
Yeah.
And I've been on this wagon for the last couple of weeks. It's just, and we're having this discussion at church, and it's leadership. Good leadership is service. So the things I've learned from these people or from those situations is being in those high stress situations. How can I serve my team? How could I make sure that they're being taken care of, that they're accommodated to, but then also getting the task at hand done? And that's hard. That's a very hard balance. I worked at Ruby Tuesdays, and I was the line cook not on the stove, but on the other side. And it was an 18-hour day. I went at 4:00 in the morning to prep, and they were short staffed, and so they're like, hey, you have to stay on. And we were in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's where the minor league for the Yankees is. And the game got out at midnight, and then all of a sudden there was 34 orders on the screen. And the manager was stressed, very, very high stress, and I was extraordinarily stressed. Sure. Like that was one of the moments in my life where I was most stressed that I've ever experienced. And I worked 18 hours at this point. And by the time I actually had to walk away from that job. And so like I walked out and I said, I can't do this any longer. But like if at that time, if the manager called in other associates from other Ruby Tuesdays and served me in a way that would have eased my stress, I wouldn't have walked off. And so like they didn't see that. Everyone was stressed to the gills, and like it was a very high stress environment. Kitchens are very high stress environment, and but a good leader should say, "Hey, let me come alongside you and serve you. Let me help you catch up. Let me do these things." And that what didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I love that. Today, as we're recording this, is book launch day for us.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. But
It's your second book, right?
It's my first
book.
First book, yeah. And one of the core principles we talk about in the core, the very first one we talk about, is that leadership is working for the good of the people.
Yep.
It's not about self. It's not about position. It's not about power. It's not about your skills. The tools in your toolkit, those are all important things, and they all have a place. But leadership at its heart, or as we say at the core, is working for the good of other people, which is biblical. It comes from Esther, story of Esther. We don't have to get into all of it here, but I think what you just described is a perfect example of how, if our mindset, right, is on service, serving others, that is what I do as a leader. It can absolutely make a difference for the people that are experiencing, whether it's high stress situations like in food service or anywhere else, right? And so what you just described is really important. So how do you hold yourself accountable to that?
I every day I go through the conversations in my head. Could I have done this better? Could I have approached this conversation better? I'm systemizing it now. So even now I'm using an AI tracker.
Really?
And so like it's on recording this conversation. And so I'm systemizing things now, and then I'll listen back occasionally to these conversations, ultimately to make me not this like, oh, look at me, I'm amazing, but like to systemize the conversations to make sure that, okay, hey, we did talk about this. Maybe I forgot that we talked about this. Okay, I have it. I have this now in notes. I have it transcribed, these conversations, especially with my team. Okay, we did say this at this point. Now we need to do this. And so it's that accountability. It's having checks and balances with my mentors, and making sure that I'm surrounded by people who have gone before me and have created businesses. And they may not be the same scope of business of what we do, because what we do is really rare.
Yeah.
But they've created businesses. They understand employees. They understand letting go of employees. And so it's, I just had a situation where I had to let go of an employee, and we were having a cash flow issue. We had $100,000 in contracts cancel in 1 month.
Wow.
And we had basically $60,000 in outstanding invoices that weren't getting paid. It was a cash flow issue. But when I brought him on, I initially brought him on for like a sales role / designer website type guy, tech guy. And he didn't fulfill on the sales side of things. And so like, I'm like, okay, like I'm frustrated with you because I hired you for this reason. But I'm also like, I operate in like that grace world of like, okay, hey, I'm going to give you another chance within my company to do this. And it just, the cash flow thing ended up, I had to let him go because of the cash flow situation. But now with the systemized things that I've built in AI, everything that he did has been replaced with major systemized things that I have been working on over the last few months.
Wow.
And so that's also leadership too. It's like, I have to protect the bottom line of my vision.
All right.
And Aaron, like my business partner, I have to protect us. I have to protect our families. And that is part of leadership, of knowing, hey, it's time to have that uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah. Some of the hardest days for leaders are those when you have to, and I say this pretty regularly to people that I coach and work with, we talk about working for the good of the people, but what happens when you have to make decisions that impact those people?
Yeah.
And the reality is that's part of leadership. That's why we say often, or experience even, and others have shared this as well, leadership is often lonely.
Well, it's extremely
and
lonely.
it's super complicated, and it's unbelievably messy. Yeah. sometimes. And those bad days, man, they can weigh you down. But on the other side, we learn lessons. You're learning how to utilize new tools, new tricks, new technologies to help supplement the work, keep the work going. Right? We're learning how to do some things differently. I think everybody's learning how to do some things differently, but it is complicated.
It's even having a business partner is very lonely because he's in a different lane within the business. I handle the finances of the business, and you're like, oh, I just had $35,000 go out, and I've made $14,000 this month. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And that's reality. Like that's happened to us in the last few months, and that's lonely. Like even having a business partner, I'm extremely grateful for Aaron. But it's still lonely.
Yeah.
Like, because you have to hold it together for your team and your family, and then you're just like, oh wow, I don't have time to actually process this. And so, like in those moments, you ask how I keep myself accountable. I talk to Jesus quite often.
Yeah,
quite a bit. So
we need to lean into faith. We lean into a sense of purpose and calling. We lean into friends and colleagues and mentors and coaches and others that help us navigate all the things. And so one of the things that you have demonstrated, even in your responses, even to these early questions here, is just an understanding and a sense of awareness to, there's multiple things going on all around you all the time. You are walking into a variety of different types of organizations, food service, high-end, hole-in-the-wall. You're walking into chambers of commerce and talking about things. You're going into entire communities and just representing or having them represent who they are in visual storytelling formats. I mean, you're doing all these different things with all these different people, and you've been exposed to a variety of different leaders through your own career, but also just as you are navigating all your clients and all the things that go with it these days. Awareness is such a big deal, but it's also not a given. Sometimes we walk into a room and we misread the room. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about a time where you or someone you observed maybe completely misread the room, and maybe you or this other person, they just kept going? Maybe they made it even more awkward by piling on when it was obvious that they didn't read the room very well.
I'll probably tell a personal story.
Okay.
So I think it's because of what I get to do and the businesses I get to highlight. A lot of people just like, they want my time, they want my energy, they want my team. They want to be featured by us. They've heard the stories of how businesses have seen a 400% increase in revenue. But there's times where it's like, okay, I go into these rooms and people want my time and they want these things, but sometimes I'm under the assumption that they're willing to spend money.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, most people aren't willing to spend money. Yeah. Their budgets are too tight. Restaurants are notorious for closing within 3 years. Right. 80% of restaurants will close within 3 years after they open. It's a very high risk industry, and their margins are extremely tight. And so like and I think it's just like there's times where like I've talked to people and we thought the conversation was really, really good. And we literally walked away with a plan of work, like a scope of work. And it's a massive corporation in this city, multiple times. And I think I don't know if I oversold ourselves. That could be a mistake I made. We fulfilled on our work with some of the clients I'm thinking of, but like, I think okay, I say all of this. I've had to defend myself a lot. Mm. And that's overdoing it. And I think of a situation we were in. It's with a local metropolitan town, and we gave them a proposal of a lot of work for a very, very low price. And it would have been 24 videos on our platform for like 30 grand. If that were to happen now, it's a couple $100,000. No one's taking us up on that. If you're interested, contact me at Stuart@XPLR.NASH.com. But they kept questioning, and I should have read the room better in this situation, because if they keep asking questions, they're not interested. They're trying to find a scapegoat. They're trying to blame me for offering something that's not valuable. And so I doubled down. I kept doubling down. I said, I'm going to double it. I'm going to give you 48 videos for this value, because I believed in myself so much. And I should have just shut my mouth. And now the relationship is mediocre. We're never going to work with him.
Yeah.
And even when we see each other in public, if you're watching this, you know who you are. Even when we see each other in public, it's that cordial, hey, how you doing? How you doing? It's absolute garbage. We will never be buddy. You were looking for a scapegoat out of this, and I doubled down by trying to defend my work. But my work should speak for itself.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for telling such a real and raw story. This question's always a little complicated.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a sip of water.
Do it. And it's complicated because I think with all leadership, opportunities to observe leadership, there are lessons to be learned. Okay, so sometimes the people that come into our lives as leaders, whether it's positional leaders, bosses, colleagues, or, employers, clients, whatever it may look like, just people we're exposed to that have some kind of influence over us. And sometimes it's power because of org chart structure, but sometimes it's just they're involved in our lives, right? And not all of them are great. Not all of them are people we want to be like. Some of them are really challenging and complicated. But I also think that if we're honest with ourselves, there are lessons to be learned that are maybe from the examples that they have shown us, that there are some good things. There may be some hard things, some bad things that we learn from them. There may be some ugly things that we learn from them. But there are lessons in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so as you think about maybe someone or some example of someone, a leader in your experience who made your life really messy, really miserable even maybe, what are some lessons that you look back on now and say, you know what, that wasn't fun, I wouldn't want to do it again, but I learned something? You have any stories for us about that?
I have a couple, but the first thing that comes to mind, I had a football coach that was like very abusive in the sense of like physically like kicking me because I wasn't doing the work well enough. And that was just an interesting situation. And then what ended up happening is I got injured at a football game, and they realized I had a disease. I was put in a back brace for 2 years. And that's the reason I couldn't squat or do the things that other people could do.
Right.
And so like, he was just a very aggressive man in the sense of like he physically abusing me.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't perform the way that he wanted to. So I think like that's definitely impacted the leadership. I'm hopeful that I'm not abusing my employees in that sense. I'm not physically touching them. It's like, hey, am I requiring too much? Do they have the passion and the expertise to match my expectations? Most of them don't. And that's the thing I'm learning right now is like, and I literally right before this, we met with a videographer that we've worked with in the past, and he's now in town full time, and I like him as a friend, but like he's he's too conceited, and he doesn't fit the culture of who we are within the Explore ecosystem. And so, like, I haven't even told Aaron this, but like, he can't be on the team.
Wow.
Because I've had to get rid of mediocre people on my team. And but like I think like that all ties in because like I was abused from the top, from the coach.
Yeah.
Am I making sure that like my team is not they're getting paid what they're actually worth? And like I'm still processing this, like as you can tell. So it's like because it's live happening right now in my head, absolutely. And so it's like, so I think that. And then could you repeat the question just one more time?
So with the leaders who we've experienced, the good, bad, and the ugly moments or things we've seen, what are some things that we learned from those moments? And maybe it's that we don't want to repeat some of those things, but we learned, so we will be, in turn, we are different because of what we learned from those good, bad, and ugly experiences from those people who kind of led us in a way that made us feel miserable.
So I had a pastor in my life. He would say this quote all the time: "The sharpest knives are in the friendliest hands." Mm. And there's a moment when I moved here. I worked for a church here for 1 year. I had a contract with them for 1 year, and that church was then my home church was going to hire a youth pastor, and they didn't call me to even see if I was interested. And it felt like that quote that he said, "The sharpest knives are in the friendliest hands." It felt like he put the knife in my back and slid it down.
Wow.
And so now I think what I learned from that, especially of my team, is like, can I make sure that if I'm letting somebody go on my team, I'm connecting them to another company or organization, I'm handing them off well, because I want people to leave well. I want people to leave with integrity. And there's a situation where I had to fire a guy, and that didn't happen. But like, just culturally, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And culturally, I can't hand him off in good faith to people.
Right.
But like, I think that quote of "the sharpest knife is in the friendliest hands," it's reality. And that knife hurts. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to, and that's leadership. It's like, okay, how can I hand off people well who have worked well with my team, fit in culturally, and so like hopefully that gives you clarity.
No, that's good. Yeah. That's really good. So as you think about the role you play right now, running a media brand, leading creatives and creative work, working with partners, working with communities, it's a really unique role that you're sitting in a unique company. As you mentioned, there's not a lot of groups that do what you do. You're kind of out in the front of the line, leading the way in some of this. And so you have to lead uniquely and differently. There aren't many models in your direct industry.
There is not.
And
if there was, maybe I would have a better time.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So, and we would say, even if there's models, that doesn't mean you go and copy them, right? Yeah. You have to be authentic to yourself. One of the things you just said struck me. You are the one who sets the expectations. Yep. Are you and Aaron, your business partner, I'm sure, is involved in some of that too, but you set the expectations for your team. Tell us a little bit about how you set expectations, and is that based on some other experiences you've had, or is that just something you've found your way, to on this journey that you've been on?
I think with expectations, there's a clear biblical standard. We need to do things with excellence. We need to do things that involve faith and questioning God. We need to ponder like that moment with Him. But it's also like our expectations for us. Like our mission statement is to create actionable content to allow people to experience their local communities. And for 5 years, and I think I've told you this, Matt, For 5 years, by accident, we became a production company.
Yeah.
And we produced for Lipscomb University. We produced for roofing companies and a bunch of other entities here in Nashville. And that wasn't the goal. That wasn't the expectation. Did it pay the bills? Yeah, it helped.
Yeah, sure.
Did it allow us to keep our team and build a team? Yeah, that helped. But our expectation was, we have to juggle all of these balls. We have to meet client expectations, which we're still doing. But we had to learn through that process of like, this is what client management is like. But now we're producing our own content to promote them instead of producing content for them.
Yeah.
And so we, unfortunately, right now where we are, we have to meet these expectations of our partners. We have to meet these expectations of the people that are paying us to highlight them. And so it's a very interesting model. And so like we have to, we have 7 different pillars within the organization. And don't ask me to quote them because they're written down somewhere. But basically our expectations, does it honor God? Is it family friendly? Does it create action? Does it bring value? And so we try everything we do goes through those 4 lenses.
Sure.
And so does a meme bring value to somebody? Yeah, it could bring somebody a laugh for a moment. Is small business being impacted because we do a video on them? Yes. Does our content honor God? That's first and foremost. And if it doesn't, then we don't do it. Does it meet our mission statement? And so like we have to ask that for every piece of content we produce. And we're producing content way more than most people. We release 5 videos a day. And so it's like, how do you filter this? You have to have the high expectation. But then there also has to be like the grace in the expectation. Because it's not a standard of perfection, but it's a standard of excellence. And if we're not being excellent, we're failing ourselves. But so you have to have grace with like myself and my team, because I'm like, okay, I can get this done. And then my wife calls and it's like, hey, you have 2 young babies at home. You need to come take care of me.
Yeah.
And then 4 hours of my day, and this is nothing on her, just 4 hours of my day is gone to go serve her. But she's the one who needs to be served in that moment.
Yeah.
And so it's having the expectations, hopefully meeting that standard every day. But there's days you just have to give yourself and your team grace.
Yeah, I love the 4 lenses you described. That's really good and helpful, but it is something you have to commit to every day.
Every day,
because it just takes a day to slip, right? And that's a great lesson for all those listening or watching this. Because of your work and your being a very visible person in this community and on social media and just throughout in all the ways, you have a following. And I don't know that you set out to have a following necessarily. Maybe it was a strategy, but you have one. And so you have a lot of influence. So, and also knowing who some of the demographics that I suspect are connecting to you and your work with XPLR.NASH. There's probably some young leaders that are finding you and finding what you're doing really interesting and how you're doing it very interesting. Think back to those days. You're still a young leader, right? You just told us your age, and I've got you by a few years, not too many, but a few years. But we do a lot of work with young leaders or early career or new managers, people who've made the jump. I was on the team and now I'm leading the team. We call it, we have a whole program called Level Up, where we just walk people through that jump. You are on your way, but we got to equip you. Think about that audience for just a second, and that part of your audience that you care about. I know you care about your audience. You want to send them to the best places to have the best moments, to build family memories, and just have great Saturdays and all the things that you've told me about. What are some things that you would tell a young leader, who's just getting started in life and in business and organizational life, entrepreneurship maybe? What would you tell a new leader, but especially what would you tell a new leader about failure? I just dumped a real heavy question on you, though. But failure. What can we learn from it? What should we all learn from failure?
I fail every day of my life. I am extraordinarily sinful. And that's how failure is defined for me, is my sin.
Mm-hmm.
That could be an outburst of anger. That can be lust. That can be anything.
Right.
And I have to remind myself every day that there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Our flesh wants to condemn us. Satan wants to condemn us. The world wants to condemn us. But if you're with Jesus, there's no condemnation. But that's not for everybody. There's a lot of people that are not with Jesus.
That's right.
And so I think understanding and defining what failure is for them, failure for me is being disobedient. And figuring out what failure is for you as an individual is going to put the parameters and definitions of everything that you do. And then what I would say is fail forward.
Fail forward, yeah.
When you fail, pick yourself up. Or you have people that love you deep enough that will help you pick up. Because in those moments, you need those people.
Yeah.
Let them help you pick you up. But at the end of the day, you have to make the decision to get up. I read All the Places You Go. That's a book I read to my sons.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah. I used to do the same.
And when you find yourself in the lurch, you have to pick yourself up and get out. Same
right.
thing with the Lorax. He had to pick himself up to get out of that situation.
That's right.
And so it's, yes, you can play the victim game. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to own your mistakes. You have to own your failures. Pick yourself up and go after it. Whatever that is. For me, it's, I want to create a family legacy. First off, I want my children to know Jesus. Secondly, I want them, if they're interested, to possibly take this company and run with it.
Yeah.
But if not, hopefully I create them a sense of imagination so that they can tell stories. Because no matter what happens with AI, story is going to be the most important thing.
Yeah. I fully understand what you're saying. Stories are what move us. What helps us make sense of the world.
Us.
There's so much truth in what you just said. In a world that there is so much unknown, especially when you think about some of the technologies that are not just coming, but here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's real, what's not. But the stories and the humanity and how we tell the stories of humanity, I think are...
And that's something that's never going to change.
Yeah.
And we've been telling stories for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change.
Yeah.
I don't care what type of technology there is. AI will never be able to replicate a human heart.
Yeah.
Ever. But I would say that's unbiblical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm with you on that.
And so, but it can have this fake sense of consciousness, but it doesn't have a story. It doesn't have a moment where I was kicked by my coach.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that type of archival.
Yeah.
Not data. It can. Yeah, it can have archival data, but it doesn't have that moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the moment where I woke up in a concussion and in a hospital and you're like, oh, what's happening? Wow. They don't have those moments. And it's, so like when you fail forward. Yeah. But before I finish the thought though, for years, you said I do have a following, which I do. And I'm grateful for it. Yes, I did set out to do it. That was part of the goal.
Yeah.
But for years, I really struggled with, I want to be famous. I want to be successful. And I want to be wealthy. And I prayed for 6 months and the Holy Spirit gave me this. Stuart, you're famous because I see you. Stuart, you're wealthy because you're in relationship with me. Stuart, you're only successful if you're obedient. And I think that's the best biblical prayer that I can have, is everything relies on God the Father and Jesus Christ.
That's so good. That's such a good word. It's a great word to move towards conclusion here, Stuart, you've just done a really great job with these questions today, and just been such a great guest to have. If people want to follow your work, tell us a little bit about where they can find you, and tell us a little bit about what you got going on. You've got a lot coming at you and your team, and it's exciting for me who's watched you kind of build this, and it's exciting for me to hear about it. So tell us what you want to tell us about what's next for XPLR.NASH, and where you guys are headed.
Yeah, so Explore.NASH, you can follow us as XPLR.NASH. We have a massive website that's coming out soon. We have a series called the Explore series that's launching soon, and it's taking influential people around Nashville, and I'm going to curate a day for them. We have an app called Explore Guide coming out very soon. So all of the places we've ever featured will be featured on our app, and it's going to be the killer of Yelp and TripAdvisor and Google and Apple Maps and Michelin.
Wow.
Literally my developer, and I developed the entire thing through AI, and I'm handing it to a human team because I want the human touch.
Yeah.
And the human team is literally writing every single line of code with AI help. Wow. But when I was on the phone call with my head developer, he said, Stuart, you just officially killed Michelin.
Wow.
And that's not a compliment I take lightly, because that's like how much I've invested into this.
Absolutely.
But we're launching that. And then on a personal side, you can follow me, Stuart, Stuart, Deming, Deming. I'm actually going to be launching on my personal page hospitality, tourism, leadership, like advice on things. So we have a lot we're working on, and couldn't do it without my team. So thank you, Explore.NASH team. We have some other things that are in the pipeline too, live events and like food gatherings that are going to be absolutely insane.
Okay. You have never led me wrong, so I look forward to we're
gonna smoke animals that I guarantee you've never had.
Well, now I'm excited and hungry, so that's awesome, man. I love what you guys do. I love the spirit behind what you do, and I appreciate your friendship, appreciate your perspective on life and work and business, and man, just thanks for being here today, and thanks to each of you for listening and watching. This has been a wonderful conversation. Stuart is a man of many talents and gifts, and but he's also one who's very real, and I think you heard that today in sharing some of those things that don't go on his robust social media feed, but those are the things that helped shape who he is today. And so if this episode has resonated with you, we would love it if you would like it, share it, subscribe to the Bad Days Leadership Podcast, rate this episode, all the things that you know to do. Until next time, we look forward to seeing you again on the Bad Days Leadership Podcast. And we hope that you have a great day.